Completing the square sounds weird, and it's one of those things if you don't use over and over, you might forget the trick. So I'm going to show you the trick, and then maybe this summer you just practice this and come back and show me you remember how to complete the square in the fall, and I will give you some sort of bonus. I will take you to ice cream. I'll take you to Froyo. You can go as big as you want. All right, we're going to start by taking something like this. It says x squared plus 6 minus 10x. Solve by completing the square. Now you might know how to do this another way because we've already taught you one way. Here's another way. This way we do step 1 like we would do anything else. Get all the terms onto one side. So I would add 10x to both sides. X squared plus 10x plus 6 equals 0. You should watch this one. This is lesson 118, unless you want to watch the video.
I'll watch the video.
Okay. Now it says move the last term to the other side of the equal sign. So once it's in order, what's my last term? This one is my last term. And you might be wondering why we're even doing this. Well, in the future it's gonna come in handy. Right now, the only reason you do it is because they said complete the square. So we're kind of learning a skill, and then you'll put it into practice next year or the year after, but we just still need to learn the skill. So we move that over to the other side of the equal sign, which means we basically subtract both sides by 6. So on this line, you should have x squared plus 10x equals negative 6. And now we have what we need. The constant, the one without an x, is on the right-hand side. Your x's are on the left. Now it says, well, I'm not even going to tell you what it says. The next thing we do is we focus on this guy, 10x. And what the whole trick to it is divide by 2, divide 10 by 2 and square it. Divide by 2 and square. Divide by 2 and square. That's what you should memorize. So if we divide 10 by 2 and square it, we have 5 squared. So what is 5 squared? 25. Okay, so we put that fancy number, divide by 2 and square, add it to here. Now if we did it to here, we have to do it to this side to make it legal. Okay, so this completing the square all lies in this line. How did we get from here to here? That's the most important thing for you to get. What did I do here that was not up here? We have this 25 on both sides. And how did we find that 25? Half of 10, or half of whatever number is with your x, and square it. And make sure you do it to both sides. Now we combine all the like terms and simplify this. Okay, so on this side we have now 10x plus 25 equals 25 minus 6 is going to be, I guess 19. It's kind of weird that we have 19, so I just wanted to peek. Yep, it is 19. So now, and then it says rewrite as squares. Okay, this now is a perfect square trinomial, meaning if we factor this, you're going to have x plus 5 times x plus 5. And the way we write that nicely is write x plus 5 squared equals 19. This is the whole goal, is to get it to that. Okay? Now we solve it from here. If that squared is 19, then let's take the square root of both sides. And now we have x plus 5, because this cancels out this, equals the square root of 19. Subtract 5 from both sides, and now x equals square root of 19 minus 5. And that's your final answer. Why did we do this? If we had tried to solve it another way, we would not have gotten that number. I want you to read in the book, because I'm skipping some stuff where they go through the steps. and how I went from here to here to here. And oh, I made a mistake up here, so I got to do this one again. Okay. Edit, edit, edit. I should have been prepared. I just jumped into this one, even though I know how to do these. Blah, blah, blah. So frustrating. So once we get it to that, we found our 25. Now recognizing something in here might be a little weird. If we factor that, so we combine like terms, so everybody's combined. If we factor x squared plus 10x plus 25, here I'm going to write it on this line. This is what's called a perfect square trinomial. And many people have a lot of trouble recognizing this. And I know this, well, I'm just repeating what the book said. The book said many people have trouble recognizing that when we factor that, it factors into x plus 5 times x plus 5, which really is x plus 5 squared. Okay, so once we get to that line, and look in the book where it says there's an easy way we can remember how to write a trinomial when we have the perfect square binomial. Sorry, when we know to be a perfect square as a binomial squared. So go ahead and look in the book on that part. Okay? Then to solve this, since we have a perfect square on this side, we're going to take the square root of both sides. When we do that, the x plus 5 drops out. And because this is a square root, the answer is plus or minus square root of 19. Okay? We cannot forget the negative. So that means we're going to have two different answers. If we subtract 5 from both sides, x equals plus or minus 19 minus 5. So that means it equals 19 minus 5 or negative 19 minus 5. Why do we have two answers? Well, because we had a quadrilateral. We know that we're going to have two answers on this. And if you look at the top of page 118, I want you to look at that. There's a book about the difference of two squares theorem. And they remind you that again. Okay, so I do want you to read that. This is how we do it. Now I'm going to do example 2. Complete the square to solve x squared plus 3 equals negative 5. Now I'm going to move everybody where they need to be. So it's x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0. And then we got to get that 3 over to the other side now. Okay, x squared plus 5x equals negative 3. Okay, now everybody's set up. Now we focus on this guy. Half of 5 squared. Half of 5 squared. Well, that's kind of weird. This is how we do it. Half of 5 is 5 over 2 squared. Okay. And if we do it here, we have to do the same thing. Half of I don't know, I can't talk. Half of 5 squared. Both sides of the equation. Now we're going to simplify and solve this. When we turn that into a square, here I'm going to bring this up here. A binomial squared, it looks like this. Goodness, I'm just having all kinds of issues, aren't I? Alright, I feel like this is blurry. So, how did we get from here to here? We take that, this was 25 over 4, which so look in your book. focus on this if this is, I don't want to slow you down if you get it. If you don't get it, I want you to look at it right now. And it's near the middle of page 498. That will explain that a little bit better. And then if you're totally stuck, you're going to call me, okay? And on this side then, we have to do -3 plus 25/4. And now we are at this spot, -3 plus 25/4. The book tells us, you know, if we were to go through the fractions, can't see it. Okay, if we were to go through adding, subtracting fractions, what that turns into is 13/4. Okay, and this side is, nothing's happened here yet. Okay, now we take the square root of both sides, positive or negative for him. So what falls out is x plus 5/2 equals positive or negative root 13/4. And subtract 5/2 from both sides. And I'm running out of room. X equals -5/2 plus or minus square root of 13/4. Now we need to simplify that, rationalize the denominator. We get this.
Hello?
Oh, coming! And we're going to call that solved. Last example. Let's see if you can put it together. I want you to try it. Maybe put me on pause, try it, or ignore me and try it and see if you get the same thing. All right. I'm going to bring that x over. And then bring that 1 over. Okay. I actually like to do it this way. On this line, leave a space instead of having to write another line. A space, because I know I'm going to be adding something here. 1/2 squared. So 1/2 squared. So that's 3/2 squared. Add it here. And actually 1/3/2 squared is 9/4. Okay. Now, if it looks like this, and let's see if I do put this into -4/4, so that's going to be 5/4 on this side. And this turns into x minus 3. See, it's minus this time. Be careful of that. Squared equals 5/4. All right. And I'm going to go up here. I'm going to take it up here where I have more room. And take the square root of everybody. All right, then that drops out. X minus 3/2 equals, now know that this is the same square root of 5 over square root of 4, which is actually plus or minus the square root of 5 over the square root of 4, which is 2. Okay, so I'm going to add that 3/2 to both sides. And so your final answer is, I'm going to do it this way, 3/2 plus or minus square root of 5/2. And that is going to be the final answer. And this represents 2 answers, but this is as simplified as it needs to be. Okay, go ahead and do the practice, and I will go ahead and do the practice as well and see if we can get the same thing. Once you get the hang of this, I think it's, I don't know, I hesitate to say fun, but it kind of is. Okay, I'm going to skip a couple things here. Since you're doing it on your own, I think you'll have the first part the same. So I'm just going to kind of skip ahead. And 1/2 of 7 squared Okay, so oh, that's gonna be a big one. Nope, here it is. All right, so go ahead and check that one. I'm going to check it in the book for me. If you have that right, go ahead and pause it and try the next one. I'm checking in the book too, make sure I didn't make any small errors. Nope, that's right. Okay, the next one. This one's going to be nice because those are both perfect squares. So 5 plus 7 is 12 halves, or 5 minus 7 is negative 2 halves, which reduces to 6 or negative 1. Ah! And there is our answer. Okay, so complicated. I definitely feel like that would never be possible for you to do at the beginning of the school year. But look how far you've come to be able to do something like this. I'm impressed. So congratulations. 2 more lessons. They are getting hard, so I need you to really hang in there and pay attention and fix mistakes and ask questions for me if you get stuck. All right?